disrupted.
America, just like fuck.
Weird thing to happen. Hello, one and all. Welcome to this edition of Kitz Corner. It's been a fantastic day so far. So we turn our attentions to Tennessee because Tennessee is about to be the next state where teachers, where your children are learning an education, the teachers are now allowed to pack heat. According from this clip of NBC Nightly News posted by the Tennessee Holler, they just enacted a law that could potentially get teachers weaponized for potential mass shooters. Let's take a look.
In Tennessee's state capital, where lawmakers just passed a bill that would allow teachers to carry concealed handguns in schools.
This is the reaction of rage, hurt, and anger.
Emotions were high as protesters descended on the House gallery, waving signs as House representatives voted 68-28 to pass the bill following the state Senate's lead. It's one of the biggest pro-gun moves by the state since the tragic shooting at the Covenant School in Nashville last year that killed 6.
We are being blamed for putting guns in schools, but the purpose of it is to protect our children.
32 other states passed legislation allowing teachers to carry guns in schools as states across the country grapple with how to address school violence. If signed by the governor, the Tennessee law would allow teachers to carry guns in schools where top administrators agree. The teachers would be required to have a permit, do training, and get a background check and mental health evaluation.
Currently, it's just one of those gun-free zones where
Sorry, you just gotta stop there. I was shocked that teachers have more kind of litigations to go through, more hurdles to go through, to acquire a gun that they're gonna protect kids with than any other ordinary citizen that goes just shopping. And, you know, regardless of how you feel about background checks and when people should wait, and, you know, this is going to be a never-ending issue. I mean, it's one of those things that even myself have been on the fence for a long while. I do now, I think, strongly believe the Second Amendment. I believe the principle of the matter that people have the right to self-defend themselves. And again, that was something that I was wrestling with my entire life. I probably still will wrestle with for as long as I live, because it's such a controversial gray area. I don't think there's ever going to be a ultra solution to combat gun violence. I think that is just how it's going to be. But it's amazing. It's amazing that the teachers go through the amount of scrutiny that people have been advocating for a long while when it comes to the regular public, but we don't do it with the regular public. Like, it's crazy. And by the way, if they're anything like the teachers I've had growing up in school, you might want to reconsider, you know, giving them a weapon.
people know they can go there and take advantage of folks.
The bill now heads to Governor Bill Lee's desk, who is expected to sign it soon.
Every person that dies at the hand of a gun in this state, it's on their hands.
Tennessee becoming the next state to arm educators in America. Priya Sridhar, NBC News.
So that was a fascinating take. And, you know, I don't know how well it's going to go well. I mean, we're trying everything that we can to combat the problem, and there's a lot of things that go into why people, you know, become violent, and gun violence is up, and just violent acts in general has gone up, because if it's not a gun, it'll be something else. The whole gun issue is more just about how it's properly being used. It's more about the person using it than it is about the gun, because the gun's basically a tool, and in theory, anything can be used as a weapon. So we got to figure out what's wrong with us. What is making us snap so radically that we would cause carnage to others so rapidly. And it's been an issue that's still going on to this day, and we could still argue about this till the end of time. It just reminded me, you know, a month ago, we just had the anniversary of Columbine, for example, Columbine High School Massacre. And, that came with the documentary of Bowling for Columbine, which I rewatched again because I do that every year. And, for Michael Moore, it was a great documentary. It was the hate time of his fame and glory as being a documentarian. It just wasn't I feel like it wasn't taking a larger step that it could. Like, it was good enough that it took that first step to realize that there's something going on, but there's a lot that needs to be covered. There's a lot that needs to be addressed in the situation. So I thought, after hearing that announcement, we go through a little, scenarios of other instances where it didn't work out in benefit. So here, for example, this is from, I think, St. Louis, Missouri, where they report that a Central Middle teacher brought a gun to class and the student stole it. Just kind of weighing out this potential solution that teachers should be armed. Well, here's maybe a reason why not. Maybe why consider an alternative to that. Or how about this one? Seaside High teacher accidentally fires gun in class, students injured. That's lovely. How about this? A Texas superintendent resigns after a third grade student finds his gun in a school bathroom. Again, you really, really got to think hard on this. You really, really, really got to think hard on, is this going to be acceptable when you've seen this many articles being released? And this is actually a recent one, too. This is from February of 2023. So just last year. How about this one? New details emerge on how a 6-year-old who shot Virginia teacher got mom's gun. Now, I know what you're thinking, that, well, technically it was the mother that had the gun, not the teacher, so technically the teacher's not at fault here. But again, if it's a 6-year-old child, a teacher brings a gun to class, leaves it out for a second, has to take it out to do something, and the child's going to look at it, be curious, and grab it. That's what I'm saying. So, just weighing the good from the bad. And just looking at all perspectives to remind people that maybe this is not the great way to combat this problem. Unlike, the 32 other states that have already signed up on this. Because, what can go wrong? Teachers don't get angered or stressed or fits of rage. So it's one of those things that's going to be a constant gray area. We'll never know exactly how to combat this. I don't think there's ever going to be a way to fully combat the violence in our society. But there are measures that we can look into. There are ways that we could examine the possibilities that are leading people into carnage and into violent acts. Like, for example, the last few mass shooters have been on antidepressants. They were young teenagers on these pills that are manipulating their mind and their brain chemistry. So that's a factor that kind of gets left out. They don't examine that. They don't examine poverty. They don't examine why, gang violence is up on a rise, why people are, getting themselves into gang activity. That's not being examined. There's a lot of different issues that correlate to all this. And like I said, myself, I've been back and forth on the gun issue. I've been, on the fence for so many years. I think now I'm strongly for the Second Amendment, for the fact that the principle of protecting yourself, especially in this day and age, like, we saw how cops response to violent acts and situations have, just absolutely been a mess. So I think that alone kind of swayed my persuasion, but the principle of the matter is, I honestly think people have the right to protect themselves regardless. If you are in immediate danger, you have every right and obligation to make sure you are protected. Um, at the time, so it's just going to be one of those things that's going to keep on going, and we're just going to come up with random ideas and throw them out there, and it's just going to be chaotic no matter what. But I don't think teachers having control of the gun is the most plausible solution. Just on the analysis of all these stories that have been released of little, let's just say, accidents that have done more damage.